Well, it does look like it could be the end for Keir Starmer. And I know this is branded about and pushed around this sort of narrative all of the time, but certainly after what has been revealed, it certainly seems there is no way that he can continue. In his own words, he said, if you do mislead Parliament, you should resign. He famously said it, of course, about Boris Johnson, and Keir Starmer has lied to Parliament to protect relations with a hostile foreign power. It's clear to see. Of course, the witness statements were revealed last night. We're going to be explaining it to you in detail, like a 5-year-old, so you can better understand as to what has gone on. But certainly, there is no way that Keir Starmer surely could survive this because he lied, misled in Parliament yesterday. As always, guys, please do hit the like button and hit the subscribe button for more. And let's get straight into this video. So, as you can see here, firstly, let's start with this. Using Starmer's own standards, he should be resigning any day by now. Starmer tells Boris Johnson to resign immediately for misleading the Parliament. And this is exactly, of course, what Keir Starmer is being accused of. Now, yesterday we did get this reveal, which was with the published 3 witness statements in the collapsed China spy case. Now, this does reveal a lot of information that actually contradicts and go against everything that Keir Starmer has been saying the last 2 weeks and certainly said yesterday in Prime Minister's questions. Now, this video really does explain this very, very well, and this 3-minute video will explain everything on what's going on and what the evidence means that has been published. Have a watch of this.
Just to explain to me, like I'm a 5-year-old child, okay, what the significance of what we heard in Parliament today was, and what the significance of the witness statements that we have just had revealed to us are, please.
Okay, so the leader of the opposition, Kemi Badenoch, said very clearly, are you blaming the Deputy National Security Advisor? Are you saying that the evidence that was provided to the Crown Prosecution Service in this case all depended on him and that he acted with no political interference whatsoever? He didn't speak to anybody about the evidence he was including. And the Prime Minister said yes. And when he said yes, everybody's eyebrows were raised at that point, because that would be very odd to have the Deputy National Security Advisor not speak to his boss, not speak to the Home Office or anyone else. So everybody was thinking, well, that's very strange. Then these files were published, and this is the key, and this is what I think many people will miss. The first statement that Matt Collins produced under the Conservative government included no paragraph about the government's current policy. The second statement, which was under the Labour government in February 2025, said, and it began with, it is important for me to emphasise, however, that the UK government is committed to pursuing a positive relationship with China. The third statement also includes that paragraph, but then finishes it with a statement of what was in the Labour Party manifesto. The reason that this is so important is that the government has been saying for the past couple of weeks that this was all about the previous government's policy. It had nothing to do with current Labour policy. And if that's the case, there would be no reason for these things to be included because they were irrelevant, in the Prime Minister's own words.
And the fact that these were included, so in the witness statements that were provided, was it to the Director of Public Prosecutions, is that right? Yeah,
that's correct.
So to those statements, they included the new Labour Party line about China, which is that basically we want to get along with them for money, and then also a quote from the Labour Party manifesto.
That is correct. So that completely undermines what the Prime Minister has been saying on this for 2 weeks, which was this was all about the Tories. This was all about the Conservative government's policy on China, because that's when the offences were committed. And that would have been reasonable, but now it looks very unreasonable because there are 2 statements of Labour Party policy in the 2 statements produced by the Deputy National Security Advisor under the Labour Party. So the key question here is, why did he include those? Are we expected to believe that the Deputy National Security Advisor, acting completely on his own, decided, well, I didn't do it in the first statement, but in the second and third statement, I'm going to include an irrelevant statement of the existing government's policy? It really makes no sense at all, and it calls into question everything that was said in the House of Commons today.
Again, just literally misleading the House. And again, as we're going to bring it up here, in his own words, Starmer tells Boris Johnson to resign immediately for misleading Parliament. He's been doing it for a very, very long time. And with something so serious as this, he must go. He must walk. Now, let's get over to some more sort of on this China spy scandal situation. Of course, there is a bit on the Tories as well with what they're saying. As you can see, Kemi Badenoch has been up this morning. Keir Starmer's excuses on the China spy scandal look even more dodgy now. The evidence shows his weak government watered down criticism of China and quoted the Labour manifesto. Despite the PM claiming no political input, it absolutely stinks. They also released this video here as well, which again just shows what they could be up to. I think everything added together with the fact that this scandal has completely collapsed, but also the fact that they've gave away our sovereignty, the Chagos Islands, to an ally of China. It all really sinks. This huge embassy that's coming to London. Everything stinks with this, and it makes you all question what is really going on behind the scenes.
Picture this. 2 men are accused of spying on members of parliament for China. The men are discovered, an investigation is launched. This could not be more serious. It is a matter of national security for our parliament to be protected. But then mysteriously, the case has collapsed. Labour said it was nothing to do with them, but it is. The head of the Crown Prosecution Service spent months trying to get the evidence from the government needed to prosecute the alleged spies. They never received it. We need to know why and who's taking responsibility for the collapse of a major trial on national security, because the British public deserve the truth.
So there are 2 possibilities here. One is that Keir Starmer and ministers didn't know what was going on in their own government, which is incompetence. Alternatively, they did know what was going on, but they are covering it up. Either way, 2 men accused of spying for China have walked away scot-free.
The question is, what has the government got to hide?
The Prime Minister is trying to argue that these men can't be prosecuted because China wasn't designated as a threat at the time. But that's not how the law works. And the Prime Minister is being contradicted by the former Director of Public Prosecutions, the former head of the Civil Service, the former National Security Advisor, and 2 heads of MI6. The Prime Minister is simply wrong about this. There's clear evidence that China was a threat, and this prosecution should have gone ahead.
And it goes deeper than that. It's reported that the Chinese ambassador contacted the Lord Speaker to propose a deal whereby they would drop the sanctions against parliamentarians and waive £1 billion in compensation that the Chinese claim that they're owed due to the steelworks in Scunthorpe, all so that the Chinese ambassador could be allowed back into our parliament.
Recently, Keir Starmer has handed over an important overseas territory to an ally of China. And on top of that, Labour are about to rubber stamp the new application for the Chinese spy hub in London. This is the Chinese super embassy. Time and time again, Labour kowtow to China, and they continue to compromise our national security because Keir Starmer is too weak to stand up to that regime in Beijing.
This government is so weak, changing their story again and again. This scandal isn't just about those men accused of spying. It's about the Prime Minister's judgment and what looks more and more like a cover-up. This case collapsing could lead to increased spying and put our national security at greater risk. Did Labour prioritise closer economic ties with China over national security? If so, then they should have the guts to tell us. Britain needs a government with a backbone, with a strong team and a clear plan. A government that will stand up for our country. The only party who will do that is the Conservatives.
Okay, I wouldn't go that far with the last bit, but yeah, I mean, that shows everything that is currently happening at this moment in time. This is very serious, and this guy is probably flapping right now. He knows. You could tell at Prime Minister's questions he was lying, he was misleading, he didn't know what was going on, and there can be a few different conclusions from this, but all of them lead to Keir Starmer being looking bad in this. He can go down the route of that he didn't know what was going on. It makes him just look really bad because it undermines his leadership, or he was a part of this sort of cover-up. Either way, he is up shit creek right now, and I bet he's flapping. We're talking 20p, 50p, somewhere in Downing Street as we speak. Let's go through this video here quickly, as Talk TV did a little segment as well.
The key thing was this: he didn't actually even have to say enemy. All they had to say was that it was perceived that China posed a threat. It's a very simple, low bar to set. The evidence right at the beginning, he's trying to say that the Conservatives didn't have this and therefore it was down to them that it failed. Not at all. Because the case went ahead when the Conservatives were in power because the MI5, all the institutions said categorically they pose a threat. In fact, MI5 said they pose the greatest threat to the freedom of the United Kingdom. All they had to do was confirm that and say that they continue to believe China posed a threat. So, you know, the old twisted can't lie straight in bed man himself, he then absolutely refused to do this. Why? Because they're kissing the backside of China at the moment because they want a trade arrangement and they were desperately worried that China would get really hacked off with them for prosecuting them for spying. And the second thing is, we've got this ghastly, excuse me, I won't swear, the embassy, a huge mega embassy, the largest in Europe, and they're going to drive that one through while they're at it as well, with 200 extra spies in the United Kingdom. This is a government that should be arraigned, I'm afraid, for unpatriotic activities.
So there you go. That's everything you need to know with regard to this. There is nowhere really to hide, actually, for Keir Starmer, but surely this is the end of his premiership. I wonder how he's going to try and wrap this one up, because he's going to have to face it head on very soon, and everybody is turning on him with regard to this. But guys, do let me know your thoughts and opinions on this whole China spy scandal down in the comment section below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we'll be back later. Take care. Peace.